Dave, I know when we've kind of talked about whether it's Jack Flaherty, just the emotions from Shohei Ohtani that we've been seeing as of late, when you think about just this not new intensity, but this intensity that we've been seeing from players, how do you see that Jack adds to that, just kind of with the fire and edge that he has on the mound?
He certainly is additive with that, and the great thing about Jack is that is not it's organic, it's not contrived, and so there's an intensity to him, great preparation, and our guys are going to feed off that. So last night I think you saw that with our guys. And I think that we're going to kind of follow Jack, today as well.
How much are you looking forward to just seeing him in this postseason, this moment, and being now with this organization, considering he grew up being a fan of it?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we're all excited. I can't imagine, I guess I can, your childhood team you rooted for and then playing for him in a postseason, and to kind of see it come full circle. And I talked to him and his mom about, being in the upper deck, watching games when he was a baby. And so now to see him pitching in a postseason game, it's very cool, right? Very special. And I just know that Jack has a way of compartmentalizing. And then once we get all that kind of talked about, then it's business.
Fabian.
Miguel was just kind of in here talking about how more aggressive you guys have been over this last month. Is that something you guys have kind of looked at in postseasons past, where maybe when the offense hasn't quite been there, that maybe you guys have been too passive at times?
Yeah. I think that I think the one thing that we do a good job as an offense is control the strike zone, run at bats, go deep in counts. But I think that at times we get a little too passive, and you've got to be ready to strike. If the ball is in the hitting zone. And I think we've seen it in past postseasons where, to be quite honest, we've been bullied with the fastball. And so I think that for us to be ready to hit off the fastball. But today's going to be a different thing. Yu's going to spin us. He's going to be selective when he uses fastball. We just got to be kind of still focused in our hitting zone.
Is that more aggressive approach sort of come in line with maybe the bottom of the order being a little bit more productive the second half of the season?
I think that the aggressiveness is sort of tied into the entire lineup. The aggressiveness, I don't know how it manifests to the bottom, because I do think that the bottom, when they're running counts, but still being aggressive, ready to hit. But I do think that there's good outs, there's bad outs, understanding your role in the lineup. And, 7, 8, 9 is, to be quite honest, is kind of to set the table for the top. And so have productive at-bats, and those guys understand their roles.
We'll stay in the second row, Russell.
Dave, with Shohei, he wasn't a guy for a big part of his career that emoted a lot. You didn't really see a lot of emotion you have this year. Do you think that's the comfort of knowing, hey, I'm the best player in the world now, comfortable in the big leagues, or being around winning a lot more than he was maybe in years past?
I think that winning certainly helps. I think he does realize he's the best player on the planet. I do think that, he's become over the course of this season, I think who he intrinsically is. He's very isolated, very quiet, stays to himself private. But I do think that naturally he is a goofy person. He's fun-loving. He's a crazy good competitor. And so I think that when he sees people having fun, enjoying themselves in moments, I think that we've seen more of that over the course of this season. And I think that that's a good thing for him, because it's honest. And I think that's a good thing for our players to see that, man, this guy is not just a robot. He's like a real person who has emotions. So I think this is good for everybody.
Alden, front row.
Dave, you talked going into this series about how you wanted your team to play with a particular sort of edge. How much is sort of Freddie kind of seemingly willing himself into the lineup, helping to kind of set a tone there?
It's big. It's huge. I think that, you can't, I think it's like the sacrificing, right? He's sacrificing health to find a way to be on the field. And then when you sacrifice anything, it makes what you're sacrificing for more important. And I think that our players see the sacrifice he's making. You know, we've had things that leading up to this postseason that guys have sacrificed family, friends, time to be together and to focus on winning 11 games. And I think that that in itself is making our guys appreciate this opportunity and again that edge, and because we've given up a lot, and I think even in this moment in time. But yeah, to your Freddie point, I think that this guy is sacrificing his body for his teammates.
Stay in the front row on the left.
Going off that, you mentioned being bullied in the past postseasons. I guess, did the way you guys won last night, overcoming the early deficit, did that show you something different about what this team can accomplish in high pressure postseason situations?
Absolutely. You know, with the postseason, you can't always be a front runner. You can't always kind of play downhill. There's going to be times where it gets hot, you're playing from behind, there's some adversity, and you can't just fold. I mean, we had 27 outs left after the first inning, the top of the first. And so to our guys' credit, we created an opportunity in the first and didn't come through, but, persevered and found a way to break through with the big Shohei hit. So that's kind of a sign of our club. But for those guys to kind of do it, then it becomes more tangible and feel like you can kind of do that more often. And that was a good thing for us, certainly in game one, and not just sort of fold the tents.
Mike standing up on the right
Hey,
side.
Dave, was the decision to play Freddie today a little more clear-cut, a little easier today than it was yesterday?
It was much easier today. I think that he is in the same spot, but I do feel that there's a little more comfort in Freddie, and knowing kind of where the floor is at for him. Whereas yesterday, you're just trying to figure out what this means and how it feels. But I think that, feeling how he feels today, he feels that he can get through today and manage it. So we certainly feel much more confident today, yeah.
Let's do third row.
Hey, Doc, two-parter. Is everybody available out of the bullpen today? And the other part is, how much of a current concern is usage as this series goes along?
I'm not concerned about usage. I'm concerned about winning tonight. We'll deal with whatever pieces we have to going forward. And with that said, everyone's available today. Even Blake Trinan said he felt good, but he's going to go out there and play catch. But again, we're going to win. We're going to do everything we can to win today.
Got Jack standing up in the back.
Yeah, I know you touched on this last night, but how much more did you guys dig into the Yamamoto tipping piece, and how confident are you that something you can get cleaned up before he pitches?
I feel good about it. We're talking about it, and so we have till game we have some time. So we're digging in on it. Yep. Thanks for asking.
And then with the bottom of the lineup, how much do you think knowing that Shohei's behind them and then kind of set the table for him just helps the production down there and just the focus level that they have and being able to be, as consistent as they've been during the second half of the season?
It's big. I think that with anything, when you understand your role and you buy into your role, then there's clarity and you feel better about it, more conviction. And so I think that, not to take away anything from our guys, at the bottom, but the truth of the matter is it's to go out there and take team at bats. And when you have the best player, on the planet, looming, it certainly understands that it's all worth it, right? The buy-in's there. And I'll tell you this, even there was an at-bat last night, Miggy popped up with first base or first and second base instead of, and it was a pop-up, but it was a kind of, it was before Shohei homered. And it was non-discrete at-bat in the scorecard. But instead of rolling over and trying to pull the baseball, he tried to ride that slider out and popped it up. But what it did is it gave Shohei an opportunity to hit. And so if he would have tried to chase slug or do a little bit more damage, that ball would have been a ground ball double play. So that right there is stuff that's not lost on me.
We'll go to Kirsten here in the front, and then we'll finish up with Barry.
Dave, just quickly, when you look at just kind of Mookie Betts' at-bats yesterday, what did you see from him? And I know we've talked just kind of with him about how last year looked and kind of the mindset he was going into this postseason with. Just kind of any takeaways you've seen so far from him in just one game?
I feel Mookie's in a really good spot. I don't think he's searching with mechanics. I think I love the at-bats yesterday. I love the compete, even when he was down 0-2, to find a way to get back into the count to then ultimately earn a free pass. So yeah, I think he's in the strike zone. There's conviction behind his swing. So I love where Mookie's at right now.
And Barry.
So, we've talked about the struggles that Mookie and Freeman had the last two postseasons ad infinitum. So yesterday with Shohei up on top of the lineup, they're on base 7 times. This all comes down to having him in the lineup. All the enthusiasm that you're talking about, the increase from the fans, it's all really attributed to having Ohtani on the team, which you didn't have the last 2 years. Do you feel that way?
Yes, yeah. He's a global talent. I mean, there's people that come all over the world to watch this man play, and we're the beneficiaries of it. And I think that the energy, anytime he comes up to bat, he's on deck. You get guys on base. I know that the pitcher on that mound feels it. So it's certainly a good thing for all of us, but it's up to us all to kind of do our parts in our respective roles. But Shohei is definitely a big part of the excitement, the anticipation, and obviously the talent on our ball club.
Well, you paid $700 million, so I mean, it didn't just come along for nothing. But going to Mookie, interesting how Schilt walked him twice to pitch to Freeman, which is something that you don't often see. And you kind of wonder when you start walking Ohtani to pitch to those guys and let them beat you.
Yeah, I mean that's it might happen, it might not. I mean, obviously the game situation calls for it, and whatever Mike feels that the time to not take his chance with Shohei and take his chance with Mookie and Freddie, we'll see. But I still trust those guys behind Shohei as well.
All right, thanks, Dave. We'll see you post game.
Yeah.